$1,200, and all we're doing is a tune-up and an oil change. Let's get started. So this is a 2014 Jaguar XJL with the supercharged 5-liter V8. And because it is supercharged, there's a ton of stuff all around where the coils are and where the spark plugs go. Quite an ordeal to do a tune-up on these. Some of the people that I've had the most trouble with tune-up prices are actually older generation people where, you know, a tune-up today on an average car is easily $200 to $300, especially a V8. Spark plugs aren't $1.20 anymore. They're $5 and $6 and $10 a piece. And then usually half an hour, depending on how hard it is. It can be $200 or $300 for a tune-up, and I've had older people say, "You're nuts, I'm not paying that. Back in my day it was only $75. Well, it's not 1962 anymore. It's 2024. A bottle of pop, batteries, Freon, houses, everything costs triple. Even in the last 2 or 3 years, things have skyrocketed. We all can list things in the comments of things that are like, oh my God, it's so much more expensive now. This thing is no exception, and because it's a Jag and it's harder to work on and the parts are more expensive, obviously it's going to be a lot more. Let's take a look around this thing before we dive in. So here's the front of this XJL. They definitely don't look like the Jags of old that we're used to, but it's still a cool style. This one's in fairly decent shape. This one has 106,000 miles on it. It has a few cosmetic issues, but nothing too serious. See, the wheels are in good shape. Unfortunately, it looks like somebody drove by this person and splashed mud all over their car. That's quite unfortunate. That sucks. We do see that the bezel around the key hole on the door is actually missing. I'm not sure where it's at or what happened there, but it's not there. This one's not dinged up or dented up. It definitely has very iconic rear taillights that definitely differentiates from other cars. It definitely looks like a Jaguar if you know modern Jags. And as you can see, its tag light is on. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, but yes, it is on all the time. And equally nice down that side. No dents or rust or anything going on. Let's go ahead and hop under the hood. Whoa, what's going on? Whoa. Wow, what happened? I feel like I'm on an episode of Car Trek being teleported all over the place. Anyways, welcome back to the Wizard's Backyard and another windy Kansas day. Today's video is sponsored by Sunday. You know, the lawn care company that uses plant science to make beautiful lawns without lots of pesticides. Many of you know that I moved from our old farm a couple of years ago into a no muffler Newton. The previous owner left us with a really nice lawn. I spent the last 2 years trying to maintain it, and to be honest, I've been kind of struggling. Sunday is really helping me to get the lawn I've always wanted. They are so easy to use. All you have to do is answer a few questions about where you live and what your lawn looks like. Sunday makes a customized plan just for you, and it ships to your door for free. My lawn is in need of some reseeding. They match my lawn with their Fescue Rescue seed blend that guaretees up to 99.9% weed-free and perfect for crazy Kansas weather. The other issue I want to combat is bugs. No, not Volkswagen bugs, the creepy crawling kind. I want to make sure bugs like brown recluse spiders stay outside where they belong without using crazy harsh chemicals. Mrs. Wizard really appreciates that. If you'd like your lawn to look better this year, be sure to check out getsunday.com/wizard and use Wizard20 to get 20% off your Sunday custom lawn plan. There's a link in the description below too. Now, how do I get back to the shop? Maybe I need to click my heels together 3 times. All right, now we're back to this Jag. Glad you guys could check out that ad. It was quite a distance away, but like with Car Trek, I can do my teleporting and it really goes pretty quick. Anyways, let's take a look under the hood. And you see nothing but just a flat piece of plastic. You can see everything is crammed in here pretty tight. I'll go ahead and remove this top engine cover, let you guys see. Spark plugs are not going to be a 15-minute job. No one can do them that fast on this car. If they can, they should probably make $200 or $300 an hour. All these little hoses have to come loose. All of these little lines need to be removed. These covers need to come off. Equally on that side, there's a lot of PCV hoses, and you do it slowly, because if you don't, you'll crack and break everything, and then that comes out of your pocket. So everything has to go really, really slow on this. Luckily, the oil filter's up top, easy to get to. We just have to drain the oil from the bottom. And you can see right there, Ford Motor Company, FOMOCO. People say these aren't Ford engines. What does that say? This entire silver cover right here is actually the intercooler. It's part of the supercharger, which is below that. It doesn't just come off very quickly. Luckily, we don't have to remove that. But there's quite a lot to do just to get to the coils. Then you have to remove all 8 coils. Then you can get to the spark plugs, which you can see that the strut towers are right next to the valve covers. That is not going to be fun. So we've got all that to talk about. We got the license plate light to talk about. But before we dive into all the numbers, let's let Mrs. Wizard show you guys around in the interior. Actually, it's really nice. I love the styling and the colors and everything they use on these years of Jags. It's very cool.
Okay, ladies and gents, it does say 106,530 miles. Don't you love the leaping Jaguar in that screen? Absolutely beautiful. So as we turn on the actual gauge cluster, you can see, isn't that just beautiful? Yes, it did say that the hood is still open because he hasn't closed it all the way. But lots of lights in there. Obviously, they're not actually really the problem. They're just being in test mode, but I love this gauge cluster. It's really nice, very modern for Jaguar. As we move up, has a very nice leather-wrapped dash and a very dark charcoal gray. We also see that it's got lovely wood accents that wrap all the way around underneath the windshield. One thing that is really cool is that is a button. It's kind of like a sensor, really, and it opens up the glove box. It does look like a really nice infotainment system. Love, again, the leaping Jaguar. Again, lots of nice HVAC controls here with some piano black in the background. We do have the gear selector that pops up when the car is turned on and running, and again, more piano black around our cup holder. There we go. That closes in 2 sections. We do have a fun little hidey hole here, and it looks almost like it should be an ashtray, but it's not. It is felt lined, so we don't actually put ashes in there. But it's a neat little spot. And then we have a nice little spot here that we have obviously a charge cord, and we also have places to connect to the radio. But it's really nice. You just press, and it has a nice auto opening hinge on it. Our seats are a camel brown and with nice black trim on them. Really nice. Got ventilated seats in the center for heating and cooling. Move to that door card. Again, more of that wood trim that wrapped around from the front underneath the windshield all the way around. Again, in really nice condition. The back seat is way back there because this is the long edition, which I appreciate the name quite nicely, but it is long edition, so you have much more space for you to sit and for your feet. So this makes this car much nicer for the people in the back seat. We do have lots of window shades integrated in. As we get to our steering wheel, again, there's our lovely little kitty jumping around there. Lots of buttons on that steering wheel. Not what we used to see back in the day with Jaguar, but still very nice. Got our classic wood steering wheel as well. All in really nice shape. The lacquer is nice. There's no cracks in it and no chips or anything like that. It's in really amazing condition. So Wizard was right. The interior on this is very sweet. I'm really curious if there's anything going on underneath though.
So just like in the engine bay where everything's covered in plastic, you can hardly see anything or put your hand anywhere. Very likely for aerodynamics. As you can see, there's plastic sheet here underneath the core support. Luckily there's no coolant coming out of all these holes or anything, so that means there's no leak going on. We'll go ahead and check our wheels here. Brakes are about 60–70% remaining. Struts are not blown, nothing loose. Same story over here. Everything's nice and tight. We can see our transmission, at least the back of it here. No leaks going on there. Everything's dry here. More plastic sheets. We can see that our drive shaft is nice and tight, nothing loose going on there. We have exhaust going from 2 into a resonator, 2 all the way back, and it continues to be 2 all the way till it gets to the very back. Here's some sheet metal skid plates, very likely covering a fuel tank or something. Yep, there it is. You can see that it's shaped like a letter U, an upside down U. So in order to remove this fuel tank, you would likely have to drop the drive shaft, the exhaust, everything. Quite a job. We've got a nice girthy crossmember here, Mrs. Wizard.
It is pretty substantial.
Here's our differential. Nothing leaking out of there. Our CV boots look good. Sway bar links are good. Brakes are about 50% back here. Same story back here, nothing loose. It does look like a little torn boot there, but it's just something we'll let them know about. CV boot's good there as well. Here we have the dual exhaust coming out the back and more plastic.
Wizard, I'm being blinded back here.
Yeah, luckily those are LED lights. They're pretty bright. They don't draw much power though, but let's get this thing on the ground. So what's going on with the rear tag light? I don't know. The last time this car was here, which this isn't the first time, we did present it to the customer that we could dive in and check some things out. Maybe we could get to the bottom of it. The customer said, no thanks, don't touch it. He said it can sit for a whole week and it still starts right up. He said, I'm not interested in putting any money out for the tag lights. Okay, well, then we're not going to do anything with that. So why is it doing that? I don't know. And probably we'll never know. But really, if it starts up after sitting for a week, I guess it's really not that big of a deal. One thing that changes from one customer to the next is where do they allocate their money? Some people put it into investments, some people put it into their cars, some people, like with the Sunday ad, they put it into their lawns. You can't tell people what to do with their money. It's their money. A lot of us in the comments like to say, well, they should be doing this or they should be doing... No, you don't like no one telling you what to do with your money, so let's not tell them what to do with their money. Now, why is it so expensive for a tune-up and an oil change to be $1,200? Why? I actually thought it was pretty high myself when I worked up the estimate, and I was looking and I was like, I'm going to have to call the customer on this. This seems awfully high, even to me. Why? So I went and digging, looking at some things. Just to do the plugs is 4 hours of labor. That's the book time at $175 an hour on a Euro car. And it very likely will take even longer than that. But I'm still only going to charge the 4 hours. We're going to take our time. We're not going to break hoses. We're not going to go and start snapping stuff. We're not going to do all that. This is not a dealership where we try to beat the book time and all that. I told my guys we don't get into a hurry like that. End up breaking stuff and you lose more than you made. Spark plugs today are not 89 cents a piece like they were back in 80 something. Especially on this car. They're $15 a piece times 8. And those are for OEM, either the NTK or Denso. There's various different brands you can choose. They all range from $14, $15, $18 per plug. So you do the math. $15 a plug times 8 plugs, you're at 120 bucks and you haven't even installed them yet. With that much labor involved to even get to the spark plugs, we are not going to cheap out. I don't even think there's cheap options for this car. I really kind of looked around, I didn't see anything. And even if there were, it's just not worth it. What if you have to take them all back off again under warranty or something like that? We're just going to put quality OEM plugs in. And again, 4 hours to do the job. That's quite a lot. The oil change. Oil is not 89 cents a quart anymore. For good quality synthetic oil, it ranges everywhere from $7 to $15 to $20 a quart, depending on what brand you choose. And this thing almost takes 10 quarts. And the oil filter is not $2. It's $35. This stuff adds up fast. And so I got all the prices together. I'm like, yeah, this really does check out. It's $1,200 just for a tune-up and an oil change. I told Crazy D in the office, I said, call this guy up. I mean, if he says no, he doesn't want to do it, I totally get it because even I think that's high. But I'm not going to cut myself short. I'm also not going to cut the customer short. It's fair exchange, work for money. We called the customer, Crazy D talked to him, and he said, I had already planned on spending that much. Why did you call me? Like, well, I'm just making sure, I'm just checking here because I don't want you to show up and get the bill and go, oh my God, 12, what? Why didn't you call me? Well, we did call him. And to my surprise, like I just mentioned, he said, go for it. There's no trouble here. He already knew. So you're looking on Facebook Marketplace and you see one of these Jags, $9 grand, man, that's cheap. Just wait till you have to do a tune-up and an oil change on it. Or if anything else, major brakes. I don't know anyone that's going to work on this car for 80 bucks an hour or 100 bucks an hour. These things, Car Ninja, other shops in Wichita area are all going to charge $175, $180, $200. They're not going to be cheap to work on. This also applies to BMW, Mercedes, Land Rover, Range Rover, any of those cars. If somebody will work on one of those cars for you for 80 bucks an hour, don't take your car there. They're probably going to break it. Definitely wanted to get a video out for you guys to show when that cheap car is out for sale and you're like, man, I could get my tax money together, $9 grand, I could be rolling in a Jag. It can turn around and bite you really, really fast. Luckily, this customer understands the cost involved. They're totally cool. We enjoy doing work with this customer. And we also thank them for letting us work on their cool Jag XJL. It's a really sweet car. If you're curious what kind of tools we're going to use to work on this, check our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We get a small cut if you purchase anything. We really appreciate it. Go check out Mrs. Wizard's Way. She's got some new content going on there. You guys can go watch. Really good stuff. And also hit the subscribe button here as well because we have an entire month booked out, which means more video for you guys. Thanks for watching.